Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Mount River Duel between the LibertineBeaver playing 24th US and he's going up against Lionheart playing as 6Y. So we'll cover the deck reviews, then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments in the game, and as always timestamps in the description. Right, so this is the deck review for Libertarian Beaver or whatever his name was. And yeah, he's playing 24th. I don't understand why people insist on playing this div. It's so bad. So we'll go through it tab by tab. First things first, this is terrible. Don't bring this. It's really, really, really bad. It's really not good. So yeah, the cluster one's great. This one is just so bad. It just really isn't very good. So like, look, 155 millimeter, caliber diameter, 3.41 HE, 227 millimeters, 2.27 HE. What's that all about? Get rid of that. You want the National Guard one because the reservist trait only affects accuracy now, and it doesn't apply to artillery dispersion. So this just fires better than this. It's more susceptible to counter battery because it'll get suppressed more easily, stunned more easily, and therefore maybe killed more easily. But just move after you shoot, you're not going to get counter batteried. In terms of mortars for smoke, you really want the self-propelled one for the same reason, so you don't get counter-batteried, whereas this, it's got to stand still to shoot, and then you got to load it up and move it, whereas this you can queue up fire and move orders. Shift, B, click, F, click, B, click, F, click, and you can just smoke, move, smoke, move, smoke, move. Or, HE if you want to lose. Yeah, so with that, like that, you probably only need 2 cards of supply now. So I wouldn't bother with the cheapo helicopter supply because it's not very supply efficient and you can't really land it near the front line. So I'd go for like that, basically. In terms of the CVs, so 2, 4, 6 CVs, that's normal, that's fine. In terms of the options that have been picked, so this is 11 guys with no AT or smoke. This is 6 guys, but 3 availability with AT. And then this is only 3 strength. It's got 18 smoke, but it's only 3 strength. 1 howitzer round is going to kill these guys. So I think this is the best one. And these guys are 11 guys again, but, no AT, no smoke. Because these guys, they're reservists, but they're 3 per card, which is cool. And, they're like less than half the price. 6 people is a decent amount, and they've got AT, so if like a tank just rolls into them, they can shoot it, at least. So I prefer that to this. Yeah, like if you just want a high HP one, you might as well bring the Engineers Leader because the DPS is going to be higher because it's got 2 machine guns. But yeah, I'd bring this one. I think this one's the best one. So yeah, 2 cards of MP Patrol. Why? You don't need that many military police vehicles. So bring the recoilless rifle one because the recoilless rifle's nice, and just sack off the other one. And then like even more military police. Why? So it comes down to that question, right? What's with all the military police? So I guess the idea is, you put it with the fire team guys, and they do a bit better. But you only need 1 card to do that with, and these guys don't come with a military police vehicle. Yeah, you could see them as like an anti-infantry squad, and that would be fair enough. But you certainly don't need 3 cards of them. Yeah, I mean, so 24th is kind of ass, and this is one of the reasons. So you can't get this up. If you could get this at 1 vet, that should be a really nice div. But you can't. So, I mean, you can bring a card, but they are kind of hard to use. Yeah, it is tough. And then, yeah, so the CEV for anti-infantry, you can bring it at 1 vet or no vet if you want. It is decent. I prefer this thing to this thing. I mean, the TOW 2 is nice, but it's only got mediocre stealth. And this is an ITO with the same range, but it's got good stealth. And you get more of them, and it's cheaper and it's faster. So I prefer this. But, this has its place. 2 armor at max range can actually survive a lot of tank rounds. And you're going to be at max range anyway, so this isn't so bad, really. But I just personally prefer this, so I'm not going to change it out because, you know, it's personal preference. Yeah, so you need a card of like close range guys, right? So, you know, close range infantry. So it can either be the engineers flash or the regular engineers. Now, both have their roles, but if you're going to use the engineers flash, you have to have somebody else with them, or they're just going to die. So I prefer the regular engineers because I think they're just easier to use. But I have been experimenting with it. So, like for example, against the Tode AA gun, and this wasn't my idea, I got it from Tiberius. Against the Tode AA gun, these things just absolutely delete them because the Tode AA gun can't fire while it's moving. So you start firing and well, it can't move, it can't fire while it's moving, and then you kill it. So that's pretty good. And yeah, so, you know, you want to be spamming out the Bradleys, basically. So I'd get the other Bradley card. Now you've got 18 of those Bradleys. And then for this lot, yeah, you could have, you know, even more Bradleys, even more Bradleys. I would bring a card of Fireteam 84 in a truck. And the reason why is sometimes you just need, like, a flank defense with anti-tank. Just to put on the flanks in case somebody comes in, and then you can kill them, right? In terms of, like, so these aren't bad, and you save 5 points by losing 5% accuracy, so you might as well, yeah, fair enough. But I tend to bring these at 1 vet. But yeah, this could work as anti-infantry, and it's nice and cheap, very cost-effective. It's 2.5 points per per infantryman, whereas, you know, this is that's a difficult division to do. This is 5 points per infantryman. Toe 2, yeah, a lot of people like to double stack the... So, like, this is kind of bad because you need 17 pen to one-shot 3 armor, but this one's quite nice, so people like to bring 2 cards of ATGMs a lot of the time. But we'll see what we need those 3 points for. Spoke about this. Like, these all fulfill very similar roles, so I don't think you need this one. Because, yeah, very good optics, but this is good, and this is very good. And so, you know, how many of these do you need? These kind of optic cars. It's nice to get a helo, right? So you can bring the exceptional optics one or the very good optics one. It's nice to get something like that. AA, so I wouldn't bother with the National Guard Stinger. It's got 15% less accuracy. It's not great. And these are 3-point slots. You can get by on chaparrals and stingers alone, I think. You can get the pivads for anti-infantry, but you've got this and you've got these, so you've got enough anti-infantry. And you've got the Bradleys, so you've got enough anti-infantry. Helis, so I'd get at least... so this is anti... But you'll notice it only has 14 rockets, so if you need an actual anti-infantry one, this is way better because it has 76. So I'd do that. And then you can... you can bring some Apaches if you want, right? I mean, it can be nice to have an Apache, but it's hard to keep them alive. But it is something cool that this div gets, you know, a nice, cheaper Apache. And then, yeah, so you need, because your AA is kind of pants, because you don't have long-range AA, you need the Eagles. So this is sort of what I was saving it for. This bomber's quite nice. This one is terrible. So if you want to run the Strike Eagles, which is kind of the point of the div, but they're just not as good as they used to be. Their reload time is 4 minutes now, and even if you only drop one thing, it's 2 minutes. And but yeah, they can be nice. It's all RNG. But yeah, you want this, the Weasel, because like this costs so much money that if you want to use it, you need to fly this out in front every time, because otherwise this might just suddenly die. So even though the Weasel isn't very good, you would just fly it in front of the Strike Eagle. It's 100 points less, and it can shoot AA, and it's got the same ECM. But you have to, because look how much faster this is. You have to call this out first, like a few seconds earlier. It takes some getting used to, but because if you lose your Strike Eagle, you might as well just uninstall a game, right? So it's a big problem. Anyway, we got 3 AP spare. I think we got it from the AA tab. So what you can do is some people like running this, and you just buy all 3 at the start, spread them out a bit, or you can get a an Apache. There's only one Apache, right? But yeah, you can buy all three of these and spread them out a bit at the start. People do like that. But I mean, like, it's a lot of points. Or you could get anything you want. You could come back and get some more stingers if you really want stingers, and then you could just one vet these, or do that, and you still have 8, right? Or you could get the pivads for anti-infantry, in which case up vet it by 1, and you can get some more anti-infantry. Or you can get some more tanks, which is probably what I'd recommend, actually. So there you go. And given, this is kind of expensive, but yeah, you would swap this out for that. But yeah, now you've got 2 more meeps, and meeps are pretty nice, actually. Nice armor. Yeah, it's a shame that you can't, because in 35th you can up-vet the reservist tanks, and in this div you can't, just because it came out earlier. It's literally all it is. So, it's a shame, really. Anyways, switching to the opponent's deck, we've got Lionheart. Quite a popular name, but I don't know if this is the Lionheart from Age of Empires 3. It probably isn't. Yeah. 6Y, much better div. 24, much better div. So, yeah, 3 cards of supply on account of the 2 up-vetted Giatsynths. Yeah, I mean, okay. And then CV options, the car, the cheap one. There's 5, 7. Like, typically people would bring a CV tank, right? So, like, because this is just, I mean, you lose the ATGM. It doesn't really matter. So I'd do that. And then get rid of this. And now you can get more Motor Strelky in the BMP ones. Yeah. So, it's 3 HP. So yeah, the MI8 Lustrumjäger Metis and the Lustrumjäger regular, they're quite common options. What you can do is put one of these in a rocket one, and then it's kind of hard to buy, but now you have 4 extra rocket helos, which is pretty cool, right? But it does make it expensive to buy, because you're basically buying 2 units at once. But yeah, this is not a bad idea, frankly. A lot of people just run 1 unit, though, and then they just spam out the Motor Strelky. Saperi RPO can work at no vet, it's just make sure you've got infantry with them all the time. There's no, I guess you got the Spetsgrupper for like wheeled AA sort of thing. Sorry, wheeled infantry. But you can run like Poor Me Cheeky in a Gaz, or you could just stack up the BMP ones, right? So why not get a card of the grenade launcher one? This thing's quite nice on the defense, because infantry runs across the field and it gets shredded, and it's got a bit of anti-armor. It's not got smoke, though, which is a problem. You can try it out. I mean, it's hard to use effectively, but if you play against a good 6Y player like Pixel or somebody like that, he uses these, and it's quite hard to take ground from him, because there's one of these in a bush, and it just shoots your infantry, and it shoots your vehicles. So they're not so bad. And then, yeah, if you want infantry AT in a car, you've got the Resvedka and the Spetsgrupper A, I suppose. You tend to run out of Spetsgrupper A quite fast. Yeah, so RT2 vetted Giatsynths, alright, so be it. And then Mortar for Smoke, and the one that saves you from counter battery. In terms of the tank options here, right, the T64 BV is not as good as the TATB, because yes, okay, the ATGM is better, congratulations, but the TATB, so basically they both survive a Maverick missile from the front or whatever, because 16 armor plus ERA or 17 armor will both survive that. The T64 BV will survive a Conker's side shot, so actually that's nice. So yeah, in some ways it's better. The disadvantage is it's slower, and you do actually notice that. But yeah, feel free to go for the T64 BV if you want to survive a Conker's side shot. That's pretty important, actually. And then, yeah, the T64B regulars, these guys would not survive a Conker's side shot, and or a Maverick from the front. The T-55As, you want them at least 1 vet. It just makes them so much more useful. Most people run them at 2 vet, or a lot of people run them at 2 vet, and then it's a trade-off between this, which is static defense, or this, which is mobile defense. I prefer this one because you can also send it around the side through the forest and kill somebody, whereas you struggle to do it with this. And this tends to get artilleried and stuff, but yeah, it's nice static defense because of the 2,800 meters. They've both got their place in the game. It's just if you're against a good player, this is more useful because when he artilleries you, you can reverse this, whereas this will just die. But it depends how good you are as a player as well. Because if you don't reverse it, then what was the point? And if you're not going to send it around the side, then what was the point? Stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, these are all right because you get them. It's got mediocre stealth and it just shoots Malyukas at everybody. So people do like bring in those. You sort of got an overabundance of infantry recon here. So I'd get rid of this. But then you struggle to, because you've not got infantry with AT in a car. Volpos used to have AT, it's very sad. But so yeah, you could potentially bring like Pull Me Cheeky at 1 vet instead of this, but you know, you've got these if you need infantry in a car to respond to something with AT. And then, yeah, then you can get the, like, this is for your tanks, gives you tanks exceptional optics. So I've always been telling people use Shift F and click on the tank and it'll follow it around. The disadvantage of that is sometimes it just sort of pushes the tank. And so if you're trying to smoke, the tank has to stop to smoke, and then it'll just push him, and then it won't smoke for an extra second, and then you die. So having had that happen to me a couple of times, I don't really recommend that option anymore. But it'll work for most people most of the time, so maybe it's still a good idea. Anyway, this has more DPS than a Gazelle cannon. Who knows why? It's not as good against vehicles, but against infantry it's got about twice the DPS. So, and it's very nice to have a recon helo, so you can see where you're going. AA, so yeah, you need this for the anti-infantry AA gun, very funny. I'd up-vet the Igler and then the Bucks, that makes sense. Helis, yes, the Urn comes at 2 vet by default, so it's very, very good. And then here we've got, yeah, this is sort of pretty normal, so MiG-31, and then 4 of these cheapo guys, and then 2 cards of the cluster, and then the Rocket 2, which you can use at the start, and it reloads in 16 seconds, which is pretty absurd. So it tends to be more because of just the fuel, and also if it gets damaged, but yeah, the fuel will take longer to reload than the weapon, which is... right. Yeah, later on in the game, you just send it out in front of the MiG-21 cluster. Anyways, that's enough about the decks. Now we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, briefly about the map. Red's on the better side because you get this nice tall building, this nice tall building, and this nice tall building. But Blue's advantage lies in... so Papa, once it's taken, it's kind of hard to defend. So if you imagine you're attacking Papa here, so basically all you do is take this, and then they just can't get in anymore because you just put somebody there, and then he shoots you as soon as you try and get in. So you have to path up to here and then to there, and it's really quite awkward. And all that time, you know, then what? Then you hide in here, and then you get shot by the guy who's hit. So yeah, you just put a guy there and a guy there, and then they just can't get in anymore without being shot or at the very least being seen. So, because yeah, that's in max tank gun range. That's 2,000 meters there for both sides. So that's a big advantage that Blue gets on this map. And then the advantage Red gets is, you know, these things. The map is deceptively narrow. I know, wow, it's so big, but you can't use any of this space, and you can't really use any of this space. You can sneak stuff around there, but none of the fighting happens there because of how ridiculous the logistical situation is. But yeah, I always recommend just sending somebody around here, around the back, right, down here. Great way to snipe enemy arty. You could do it the same on this side. And just try and, you know, find the enemy arty and just spot it for your own arty or kill it or whatever. In terms of the division, 6Y is way better than 24th. 6Y is a tournament meta pick, and 24th is not. So yeah, Lionheart definitely on the better div here. Basically, as you'll know from the deck review, which you didn't skip, 6Y's just got a lot more cool stuff, right? and it doesn't have to worry about all this reservist nonsense. And, you know, it's got these nice helos and better infantry and stuff like that. So, yeah, 24th relies on these Strike Eagles, and they're very expensive for what they are. And they, you know, sometimes they just die in one hit, and that's it. Especially when you're against 6Y, which has really nice AA in the form of the Buck and the MiG-31. So, looking at the deployments, neither side has airborne forward deployment. They've got recon forward deployment, and 6Ys is better because they're higher HP squads. The Spetscrupper are very strong. So he's coming straight down to Alpha with 2 squads, and he's going to X-Ray with 2 squads. Then he's got Motav Clearer and a BMP-1. These things don't have smoke. But they've got mediocre stealth, so they're pretty decent as long-range ATGM chuckers, because they can be quite hard to see. Especially since the forest stealth vision got increased. That was quite a while ago now, though. Anyway, he's putting one in here as well. I mean, this can see further, but it's more likely to get artilleried. And then the ATGM's going back there. Then we've got 2 Mi-8s coming for Alpha and Papa. 1 Lufstrom Jaeger regular. These are just FS Jaeger from 4th Mott, except they're like a lot cheaper because they don't have the airborne forward deployment, and they just are. So it should be 5 points difference, but I'm pretty sure it's 10 points difference, or at least one of them is. And so they're pretty good. And yeah, these guys are coming in here. Then we've got Supply, Igla, Conkers, ZPU thing, anti-infantry, like, these guys don't get that either. These are really good. It's a bit silly, really, how good they are. A Book, right, better AA, better planes, better infantry, better tanks, and better artillery. Oh dear. More helicopters. I suppose the NATO ones are better, but they get very few of them. And yeah, CB for India, and then presumably Papa. An Urn. Te-Urn. And then an Igla, Conkers, and a ZPU thing. Switching to his opponent's deployment, we've got the LibertineBeaver. It's opening with a Phantom. So this thing's actually ridiculously cost-effective. Since the Sparrow range went up, it's got 5 of them. I mean, it's pretty crazy, actually, for the price. So that's pretty good. So that's something 24th gets. And the Stroke Eagles are nice, but not against a div with such good AA. Anyway, then we got some Scouts on the left, backed up by a Stinger, an MP Patrol, and a Bradley with a fire team Dragon in it. And a CV for Ligma. Then we've got 2 Tow Cobras, okay. But he's not got any recon helos. So he's coming in, but he's not got a recon helo, so he'll struggle to see. But at least he's got the plane to protect these guys. And then we've got, yeah, National Guard Scouts, Bradley, Scout thing, recon. And then a Tow 2 and an MP Patrol. So he's taking a very defensive position here. And he's taking a defensive position everywhere, apparently. He's not open Strike Eagle, has he? He might have done. There's not a lot here, but maybe this is enough to cover the point difference. So yeah, Stinger, MP Patrol. Just need to... These have a gun on them, so they don't auto-sell, so I guess that's not a problem. And then, yeah, on the far right, National Guard Scouts and a Bradley. So, let's cast the game. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners. I was going to call them genuine channel joiners, I suppose they are. Generously joining the channel. Genuinely joining generously the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest levels worth about 2,000 views in ad revenue equivalents. About 3/4 of the channel revenue, which is my sole source of income, comes from the channel joiners, which is why I shill the channel joinership so much. Ad revenue on YouTube is really, really bad. And it's worse for me because I've turned off certain categories like alcohol and gambling. So yeah, I guess that must be where all the money is. Anyway, if you don't want to do that, please like the video. I recently saw somewhere that if you like the video, it recommends it to 10 more people. I heard another YouTuber say that. I don't know if it's true. Anyway, Lionheart not really reacting to this. you don't just drive into the enemy and die, right? You do some noticing. Do some noticing. So he's bought 2 MiG-21 Bisses here, so this needs to land. This one's probably already dead. And the fighter got hit by the baddie. He's not brought the fighter Eagles, which I think is a big shame. But yeah, I mean, this hasn't landed, so this is going to die now. And just neither player really doing much noticing. Say lack of noticing here. Because yeah, I mean, that didn't have to go that way. These helos could have landed when he saw the jet. This helo definitely could have survived. This one sort of got, you know, the 2 came straight in, so you don't have much reaction time there. So yeah, pretty big death for both teams. They lost a lot of units, but you know, like, because yeah, Lionheart lost all of his Spetsgrupper because the tow cobras just killed them all, and he just drove into them and died. Which yeah, it's not fantastic. And on the other side, both tow cobras died. So you know, pretty high casualty rate so far. And yeah, I was having this conversation with some people in the comment section and stuff like that. So yes, he's bought the other Phantom. He's got to be careful because this thing has very nice range. And well, okay, see you later. See you in 9 minutes. No fighter cover for about 7 minutes now because that just happened to the other one and he's only got 2 fighters. So not ideal. You'd expect the Bradley to win this fight, but I mean, you know, anything can happen. Like that. Anyway, he needs to send the CV forwards, right? He's currently losing, so he's done some more noticing there. And then this one can swing around. Typically, you don't want to bring it this way because there tends to be somebody in there, and so you bring it around this way. This is a road, and then you can come up, and then there'll be somebody here, so you have to sort of cut across here and then get in. Depends on the range of this, but there you go. That's 2625, so you can get in there. Don't think there's any infantry ATGM team that goes further than this. Because you don't get, like, Hellfires on a stick, do you? I mean, like, the Bastion anti-tank ATGM is a vehicle, right? That anti-tank gun. So, yeah, both players just sort of slowing down a bit. And, you know, like, blue could be on a +1 or leveling up to a +1, you know, gearing towards a +1 if he just brought this in. The alternative is, you know, get some smoke here and then send it this way. It is faster, but yeah, this way is the safer way. That's what I tend to do. And it's cheaper, you don't have to buy the smoke. He definitely knows that's there now. And yeah, so if this guy was in the church, he'd see further than atheists, and then he'd be able to kill this. Or at least shoot at it. So they got 4 HP, so these are very much glass cannons. Very effective, and you get a lot of them at 2 vet. It's crazy, because if you think about Gazelle cannons, they don't come at 2 vet. Don't understand why this comes at 2 vet. And it seems to whenever it shows up. So like, I think there's like a Czech and a Polish version, and they seem to be 2 vet as well, from what I remember. Anyway, both sides quite content to build up. I mean, they are shooting each other, right? You see this going on. And yeah, smoke mortars coming in, lots of BMP-1s coming in. T-55As at no vet. Spoke about that in the deck review, so it doesn't make too much sense. So, yeah. These guys are dead. You could just bring the Bradley up here and then it'd be able to engage that target, but he unloaded it and then loaded it back up and just sort of forgot about it. Okay, he's unloaded it now. And yeah, if this got to here, it would shoot that, and it would shoot all these, right? You wouldn't just be able to drive past. Oh no, the Motav Clearflow is probably just going to shoot it. That's a bit of a shame. So yeah, you got to be careful just taking the main road because you get shot. I don't like that, right? So it's just not ideal, really. This guy can smoke if he wants to. Okay, he's just going to expect the enemy to miss and be correct. And now he smokes when he's out about 80. Okay. He didn't have to smoke there. He just missed all his rounds. And that's a shame, really. I guess he didn't notice that, you know, because he wasn't looking. He probably didn't notice. But yeah, this is symptomatic. I believe you can just click on it, right? So yeah, now he's gonna. Well, I mean, he needs to get a CV in here without driving it down the road, basically. The M60s, the MMG teams are really, really nice for holding ground. I'm surprised he didn't open with any, actually. The Stinger came out of his building, so he died. If he'd stayed in his building, I think he might have been okay, but yeah, I think he just sent him out here, and this was in range, so... Burst him down pretty fast there. Not even sure he got a shot off. I don't think he did, because this hasn't lost any cohesion. Also, it's not dead. So, big smoke coming in here. And, yeah, I mean, that's intelligent, right? So that the ATGMs here can't shoot you, and then you can come in here. But, you know, if I was red, I'd be focusing mainly on this side and just sort this out later. Or just... Well, I mean, there are advantages to attacking in two places at once, right? It's just, it's hard to look at both things. You do tend to make mistakes, but the enemy will have the same problem. But defending is easier than attacking, because the defenders just sit there. Right? I mean, you can defend actively, and it is better. But generally, the defenders do a lot of sitting. Anyway, these National Guard scouts have a DMR, which is actually pretty good on a suppression basis. Although, you know, they are reservists, so they take a lot of suppression themselves. So he needs to pull back a building, or he's going to die there. And, yeah, the Bradley should really do a lot of damage here. He's put it in a pretty good spot, right? Okay, this is not a good idea because the Buck's still there and he's not really done anything to deal with that, so he's going to get hit by a Buck. And the Buck's going to fire again! Will he make it out? Or will he die? He makes it out, okay. So yeah, moving up in the transports for a bit of cover, I guess, but... Yeah, at least he unloaded that in time. And the smoke has stopped, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, like, this is sort of a weird attack. Like, where are the tanks? And here they are. He's got a bit of recon. And he's got, you know, he's got AA back here. It'd be nice to have an Igler up, but yeah, it's hard attacking here. You need two smoke mortars really. One to smoke this, and one to smoke, you know, whatever's shooting at you over here. And you do need an Igler, otherwise this sort of thing happens. I thought this guy died, but. There it is. So yeah, the stroke eagle's out. We call it that because you have a stroke, regardless of... Wait, so... if it dies, then you have a stroke. And if it doesn't die, then your enemy has a stroke. So it's a very stroke-inducing thingamabob. So yeah, lots of people dying again. Big death going on. Very aggressive play from both sides. And yeah, this is why you need like some sort of short-range AA in your attack, because, I mean, the same things always happen, basically. If there's not enough ground forces, your enemy's either going to buy a plane or buy a helicopter, and this time he bought both, right? And if you don't have AA for that, well then he's going to kill you. So, TOE2, getting a lot done, actually, as it sort of meanders around the open. And... yeah, the Phantom's out. But yeah, he didn't... Instead of bringing the Wild Weasel, he brought the Aardvark Cluster, and it's like, don't do that. That's really bad anyway. Might as well bring the Wild Weasel. So, he's evacing the right way. Yeah, he was trying to come around there, but the Buck evac'd him. Buck needs to do some moving, really, because... See you in another 9 minutes. Because, you know, if Blue was paying attention, he'd arty this, because it's not moved. It's just sat there shooting. It's got very nice accuracy. Pretty good piece of kit, this. I think it's the best ground-based AA. Because you've got the Krugs, but they're like 30% accuracy, so... yeah. 6Y is really good. It's a very, very high-tier division. So, Ern's coming in here, and, you know, it's sort of the same argument for Blue, right? The Stingers need to be closer, but then, you know, you got to make sure they don't die when you're not looking. It all comes down to practice. I can't remember if I finished my thought from before, but basically, I was explaining how in Age of Empires 4, because I do these live streams every day at 5:30 UK time. If you click on the channel and click on live, they'll all come up. They're all still there. Or you can just wait for the next one, right? And I've been playing a lot of Age of Empires 4, and I just, like, I know what it is I have to do, but I can't click the buttons fast enough, so my guys die. And somebody replied, I have the same problem with Warno, and it makes sense, right? So in most cases, I think people do know what to do. Like, if you've seen enough of these videos, there you go, the Stinger came up and it killed the Ern. people do know what to do, but it's like they can't click the buttons fast enough, and it's just because they haven't had as much practice as me. So there's two parts to the equation. By watching this video, you're solving the first part, so congratulations. And that's knowledge, getting the knowledge. And, you know, I'm here every day, 7 o'clock UK time, is when the 7 AM UK time is when the videos go up every day for like the past 2.5 years or something. And then the other part is the application and just getting that. I mean, I call it muscle memory. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but basically moving conscious actions into the subconscious so that you can continue, so that you can do them without thinking, without actively thinking, and then that saves your thinking for, you know, more important things. And, you know, because it's not like I'm some sort of ubermensch, right? He's just built different. He's just good at... No. Almost everybody who's a lot better than you has just played way more than you. Obviously, there are some cases. So there are some people who like... gosh, how do I say this in a way that's not condescending? Some people learn a lot slower than others, to the point that it's actually kind of sad to think about. And I know a couple people like that. Who have like loads and loads of, who have more games than me but are way worse. And usually there's a good reason for that, where it's like they only play when they're drunk or something, or, you know, they do loads of drugs and stuff and it's just genuinely fucked up their brain. Anyway, the Strike Eagle gets another kill, but this is the issue. This is why you need to send the seed out in front of it, because not only does getting hit mean that you come back in 9 minutes, right? It also means that sometimes you'll just die, because you'll get hit once and you'll get a crit, 0.5% chance crit, and it'll deal an extra damage, and you'll take 10 damage and you'll die. So that's why the Wild Weasel's so useful. You send it out in front, and it, you know, it's probably not going to kill the enemy AA, it's probably going to miss, but it takes the hits, and you also need to get a howitzer out, and whenever it arty shoots from a position, you howitzer him. Preferably 2 howitzers. If it's an Igla team, 155mm will do it, and if it's something like this, you know, they tend to be able to move because it's got 1 top armor instead of less than 1. I don't know why. I mean, obviously the missiles are pretty exposed there, but who knows how any of that works. Yeah, so Red continuing to attack in 2 places, and that sort of continuing to be quite difficult for him because he just can't really get the micro right. This is still alive, which is quite surprising, because, yeah, one of them did die. Oh no, he has 4 in the deck. This is probably the 4th one, because he lost 2 at the start, and then 1 died here, so this is the... Yeah, so it's not that it's still alive, it's literally... it's new. It does need to get some more infantry in mid, and that is coming. And, yeah, the National Guard M1s, they're okay until they get shot, basically. The idea is you put a military police vehicle next to them, and I assumed that was why he had 3 cards of military police, which is a bit on the high side. But it looks like it's been sold or something, I don't know, or maybe he didn't buy the right one. Anyway, yeah. That wasn't really worth it. So, you were about to see how useless this bloody thing is. Okay, I mean, it killed a couple of things. But generally, people just move out of the way, and it has a 4-minute reload. It's really not that amazing. And they have 2 top armor, which is why it died. This would survive that. Most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for just getting somewhere first. And that is basically what has happened here. Although, you know, a lot of that is because the Spetsgrupper just got blown up by the by the Toe Cobras. This guy could do with getting behind something. He does have 1 top armor because of the armored tarp. The armored tarp hole in here, giving it that 1 top armor. Very powerful. And yeah, there's a lot of ATGMs here. So like this one I'd put there, really. Because you've already got some here. So this one you could put here, and then you get side shots, and you can also shoot down there. And I think blue would benefit a lot from buying a howitzer, because like this hasn't moved all game, this hasn't moved all game, this hasn't moved all game, this hasn't moved all game. You know, this hasn't moved all game, and it's fired 6 times, so you should know it's there. And then you know, you just kill those things. You only need one. He does actually have the M270HE in his deck, which, as you'll know from the deck view, I think that's a bad idea. It's not very good. The cluster one's quite nice, actually, but the HE one is really not great. It's really not great. So we got some military police in here, and you know, they're probably going to do quite well because they're military policing each other, so the suppression resistance is quite high. There are a lot more enemy units, so they'll probably still lose. It just depends on the, like, you don't really want your stingers engaged. It depends if the Bradleys are helping out and stuff. So he's coming out with the HE bomber. This thing's quite nice. The Phantom cluster's nicer, but this div doesn't get it. Third gets it. So basically the Phantom cluster, it doesn't like one-shot heavy tanks, but it reloads in a minute. Like the F-16 cluster. But this is cheaper. So, yeah, a lot about this zone just comes down to this side, because whoever owns this side can fire into whichever zone they want. So this is very important, and I don't think Red's really giving it enough attention. Blue's got a lot of Bradleys here. He keeps putting stuff here, and, you know, it's working out for him. Red's sending sort of like one infantry unit forwards, but if you just got a couple T-55As in here, you know, then you need some AA behind it, right? I guess they're coming here now. I don't watch these ahead of time. Anyway, 7.62s are really nice for just sort of padding things out. Particularly these National Guard ones. The DPS is lower, but they're only 10 points for 4 guys. That's 2.5 points per guy. And yeah, the military police lost to 10 Guerrillian people. Strike Eagle's coming in here. And yeah, I mean, part of using your air is that you've really got to use arty to kill the enemy AA. Otherwise, the amount of enemy AA is basically just going to keep increasing until you die. Now, having said that, Lionheart has not bought a MiG-31, so he's quite content to just let this kill him constantly. And he's ran out of bucks, right? All of them are there, so... yeah. There's a lot both players could be doing. Anyway, more helos just sort of coming in, and really Red is suffering a lot from this attacking in two places strategy, because he's just not looking. So, you know, this is very, very risky. And, well, there you go. I mean, so that's like basically your best asset, and you're using it to try and kill it, like one helo, and just keep flying over the enemy AA and hoping it doesn't hit you. It's not ideal, really. So, you know, like this could just be reinforced, resupplied. There's a supply right here, and then you can keep shooting. Or you can get a chaparral up here. I believe they're amphibious. Oh, they're not, never mind. So you'd have to bring it up here around there. Yeah, I don't understand why Blue's so hesitant to buy a howitzer. I can't remember, like, did he have them? I know he had the M270, and I put a howitzer in. Yeah, this would be a great target. This as well, you can't just let your enemy smoke you for the whole game. Just watch him do it. It's not ideal. So, ITV goes down. No more Coronation Street. And nobody outside the UK is going to get that joke, but it is what it is. I refuse to explain it. So yeah, the books continue to shoot people, and not. Oh, he's moved it. It's moved a little bit. They're moving. And yeah, like a meat here would be cool, or a TOW-2 in this building would be nice. Don't know if he's got any left though. I know he's lost a few. Yeah, more guys coming in. What you can do as well is put a Bradley in here, and it will just shoot them. They won't be able to land. Big 21 bis cluster, not seeing that yet. And yeah, this is just not, I mean, it's like that thing with the moths. They see the flame and they just have to fly into it and die. It's, you know the books are there, because they keep shooting you, so don't fly into them. The risk isn't worth the rewards. Like, so this is 60 and this is 45, so that's 105 points, and your jet is 175. Furthermore, the jets are 2 per card, and you only have 2 of them. And the somebody's calling me. That's probably a scam. I don't have any friends. And the I'll deal with that later. And these helos are like 4 per card. He's got 8 of them. Obviously, probably didn't know that. from being on this side, right? Unless you've noticed what's coming out of them, then you know they were right, depending on your knowledge. So, yeah, more planes. I mean, yeah, you know, in terms of Red's case, he really should have a MiG-31 up. By now, he should have both of them, because the guy's just running at you with planes constantly. You need an ASF. And there you go. No more Strike Eagles. And, yeah, it's, I mean, it's not particularly surprising that these planes are dying if they're just going to fly right next to books. And this is max vet now, so it's got 70% accuracy, which is pretty wild. So, these Fireteam Dragons are Dragon 1s. They don't one-shot the BMP ones, but that one was damaged. And you see he's got a lot of these M60s. And they're doing alright. Might want to consider getting a card of Itos or something, if this is kind of the plan. 2 cards of ATGMs helps that a lot. So, double CEV. It's interesting, there's a good recon here. It's got in a good place. And yeah, I guess that's going for the infantry. And yeah, it's just a nightmare moving around here because there's just so many places you can get shot on both sides. Like this narrow forest here is very hard to move up and down, and that's why if you want to attack, you really need to sort this out. Because it's not like you can come and take this before taking this, right? I mean, you can try, but you're going to get shot in the side, so this is where you need to sort out, and you've got to use it back to a wall, so you're not, if you're coming down here, you're not getting shot in the side, basically. Or at least you are less. I mean, obviously, if you're facing this way, somebody's going to shoot you from this way, but you don't have that risk. Whereas, you know, it's just sort of human psychology. People see the zone, and they're like, what is the fastest path to that zone? I'm going to walk up and down here. And then they just get caught in this cauldron and shot to pieces. I do wonder how different the game would play if you just replaced it with the Steel Division 1 frontline. And just had it so, you know, there's no zone. And basically, I mean, the Steel Division 1 frontline, it's got its own problems. Basically, it just tells you where the enemy units are, because there's just this big front line on the map, and if it gets pushed out suddenly, even if you've got no recon, you know there must be bad guys there. So yeah, rocket planes coming out here. One of them landed on the chaparral, which is pretty funny, actually. And they do go down. They have very low ECM. So, cluster planes coming for these T-55s. And yeah, this is why I don't like this unit, because it's not got any AT. So you get so many situations like this one, where it's just not really accomplishing anything. Whereas at least the M67... Did he just get critted? I didn't see it, but it looked like one shot, one kill that. Probably was. I don't see what else could have shot him. And yeah, you know, the books are killing people and they're not moving, so you want to arty them, really. And you can't just let your opponent sit there and smoke you. It's not fantastic. But yeah, blue's still on that +2, right? Red's been unable to push in. You see the issue with the National Guard M1s. They're it's not that great at no vet. If they could go up a vet, I think they'd be really good. So, using MiG-21 BIS cluster on Stingers, and it works, because cluster's sort of dual purpose. This could move up, basically, to here. They'd be a bit better off. And yeah, that's why you don't put both your ATGMs in one building. It's better not to double stack stuff unless you're actively trying to burst something down really fast. In which case, yeah, you put both in one building, shoot, and then immediately move them. Because it's just always a target for artillery and for air. Another thing I've noticed is that Lionheart hasn't bought the Jiatsin. So basically he went for 3 cards of supply, so he could keep these 2 upvetted Jiatsins firing. He's just not bought them. Which, you know, buying them at this point might be a bit late in the day, but if he'd bought them near the start, okay, so my rush hasn't worked out, now I need to try and slowly move into a zone. Artillery is very, very helpful for that, because, you know, you kill the enemy, like these things would die in 1 howitzer round, so you can kill 2 of them per, if you got 2 things, you just split them, 1 on this, 1 on this, depends what you can see, right? Or you just interrupt the volley, and you can kill these things. It's the best way to kill them, really. So, It was a good idea moving down here, but typically you want to, you know, if he got some... Because, yeah, I mean, this is obviously not working out. So if all this was coming down here, he could... Because look how far he's got already, and then he could come around to here, and then he'd be shooting them from both sides. So he'd be getting side shots as well. Instead, he's buying 6 Razvedkas and KPVs. Okay. Very exciting. So, the Bradleys are not amphibious, and they are dying to these Conkers. There's 2 of them, just sort of driving into them and dying. But, you know, Bluey's on the +2. Although he's not actually got the zone on the right, so it looks like the MTLB is coming in there now. You'll notice the fast path does something very funny with this, so you gotta be careful. And, you know, this position is very important as well. Red's got it. And you see how much value it gives you. So you can shoot stuff as it comes down the road, and, you know, it gives you good vision. Side shot on that base M1 there. And, yeah, he's gonna go down. This thing's gonna smoke now, I suppose. Dives through it to the Toad 2. And, yeah, this has sort of just completely collapsed as a operational concept. He's just checking his tabs and he's like, what have I got left? But yeah, from Red's perspective, I think attacking in 2 places, it hasn't really worked out for him, and he should have just slowed down a bit and bought the artillery. Done some artillery preparation of these positions. And imagine if he'd focused one place, right? Imagine if his smoke mars... I thought he had 2 of... Oh yeah, one's here. Imagine if they'd been here, right? Just have one here, you know, you just smoke that, and then you can just run in. And, you know, he has it, eventually he's managed to do it, and you'll notice he's got this, and... Because otherwise there'd be a Bradley here shooting him, so yeah, getting this is very, very important, this line. Another Phantom just flies up to the books and gets shot. And, yeah, I mean, this is probably not gonna work. So, the T-55A doing a lot of work there. And he is low cohesion, so... So this won't really kill it, I think, but it does stun it because of the suppression factor. But it's not got any pen, it's just a... I mean, to be honest, if this hit a tank, it probably would kill it. But in this game, it's not like that. Everybody inside would probably die of concussion. They got hit by a 165mm HE rat. I believe it's Hesh as well. It's a British gun. I think it's Hesh, so it's actually alright against armor. I mean, it's the best thing in the universe against armor. Anyway, 2 more MiG-21 BIS clusters coming in. Somehow this is working. I guess Blue just kind of ran out of stuff. He does get the bombs off there, so... Did he? Oh yeah, he did, yeah. And you see the cluster, it will suppress a lot of people. Once your AA shoots, you need to move it, or it's going to get artied. But not, I don't know if this is some sort of gentleman's agreement or what, but like arty is really good on this map because, as we've discussed, the playable area is very narrow. Like, there's not really anywhere to put your units, so they always tend to be in the same places. And that allows you to get artied pretty easily. And, you know, something like this should be artied straight away. And the smoke mortars, and the books, and that Conker's position. People even just pre-fire this without seeing it, because they just know something's going to be in there. Same with this one. So if you've got an arty and you can't see anything, so obviously we've got perfect vision here. If you've got an arty and you can't see anything, just shoot that. Just shoot that. Right, depending on which side you're on, right? This is another good one. So, Blue, trying to get back in the zone, right? And you'll notice all it did was even it. Even it out. This guy needs to be in a building, really. But yeah, the National Guard M1s, they're doing okay. I mean, they got quite a bit done. He's actually in a little dip there. It's probably dead now. It's getting side shot. Yeah, down it goes. And yeah, it's going to be +2 to Blue momentarily. Like, Red, he's finally got in. Just by just running at him. I mean, it's there are better ways of doing it. The artillery preparation, I think, is something both guys could learn from, because it's very low risk, right? You buy a bomber, you got to fly over the enemy AA. The artillery, it takes longer to pay off, but it's very low risk. I think it's an interesting way of thinking about sort of the game design, right? High risk, high reward versus, you know, low risk, low reward, that sort of thing. and with sort of ground-based units somewhere in the middle. Helicopters are a bit more high risk, high reward, or high risk, high cost or something. Well, yeah, the cost is kind of a separate metric because one artillery piece is like basically the price of this tank, and basically the price of a good helicopter, like an Apache or something. They more or less all cost the same. But yeah, you could tell Red's just running out of stuff. Although, yeah, I think more tanks would have been, more tanks earlier, instead of just running 5 infantry in, and then running 5 vehicles in, and then running 5 tanks in. You want to sort of do it all together. And it's one of those things, like we're talking about, easier said than done, right? I think most people sort of know what to do, but they just can't click fast enough in the moment, and, because, yeah, it's not like, the people who are better at this game are smarter than you. In fact, they're probably a lot dumber, because they spent more time playing a video game instead of doing something important. The issue is, they don't have to think about the things that a newer player has to think about. Like, I don't have to think about, I've got to remember not to buy 5 of the same thing and then 4 of the other thing. I don't even have to think very much about, like, what do I need? Or even, like, where to go. I've played this map, like, probably over 100 times. And so I kind of know. I wouldn't say I know everything. But the more of the sort of rudimentary stuff that can just go in your subconscious, that you don't have to think about, the more space your active mind has to actually think about things, right? And plan out, like, a new strat. What will work in this case, that sort of thing. So yeah, the more time I play this game, the better I get at smoke mortaring, because that's something that takes some thought, right? Like, this is a good spot to smoke mortar, because, yeah, there's usually an ATGM there, but, it's not always that simple. So, yeah, still plus nothing now. Well, we're 7 minutes left. I mean, I don't really see how Red gets this sword. I mean, all Blue has to do, really, or Red, is buy a howitzer and just blow that up, or blow that up, but nobody seems to want to do that. They've got them in the decks. Like, Red's got 2 really good ones, he just hasn't bought them. Because, yeah, you know where it is. Where else is it going to be? It's either going to be behind this or behind this. Or between these two, I suppose. Like, between these 2 buildings. I know it's the same plot. Or between these 2. But, yeah, I mean, it's most likely it's behind here, because that's the biggest one. It's the most... Also, yeah, it can't be behind this one, because this guy would probably see it. Or in this gap, because this guy would see it. Yeah, so it has to be behind there. And it's sort of the same on the other side, right? He's either going to be behind this building or in this little tree bit. Sometimes they put it, like, here. Yeah, so you can see the 6th player. The tanks are doing quite well. The Bradleys don't really compete. I mean, it helps if you unload your infantry and don't just sit around. But the Bradleys, they're good on the defense. Like, that was a nice side shot because of the TOW 2 spam. But yeah, you need them, like you want one here. And one, one here, but then you get shot by this, right? Well, it is out of ammo. So, yeah, that was an engine fire crit you saw there, just killed him off. Because it takes the damage in 2 stages, because it takes a second to write engine fire. Anyways, that's the end of the game. So you see the KD was pretty similar. So we got a rank 333 here with 300 games. And a rank 340 here with 600 games. So, like, very similar ranks, very similar skill levels. And you can see with, like, how useful it is to just get somewhere first. But yeah, I'm really surprised at the lack of howitzers from either player. And yeah, you got to do some noticing at the start. Make sure you don't just fly into a healer and die. A lot of that is like learning the hotkeys and stuff so that you can just very quickly react to it. As opposed to having to press down here. Where's the unload one? Click that. Click on the map and then you're dead. Whereas, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that game. I hope you learned something. And I'll see you in the next one. GG.